Welcome to the Ripple Wall video. Like the other videos, this video is divided into 3 sections: the sample sales pitch, then a review of presentation materials, and finally, the frequently asked questions, starting with the general questions and then the internal only questions. First up is the sample sales pitch.
Ripple Wall is the final wall feature in the woven series of products. Ripple Wall uses the exact same hardware system and material choices as Wave Wall and has a similar look, though the tile is not as wide. The difference between Wave and Ripple Wall is the inclusion of a shadow tile. For each convex ripple tile, there is a corresponding concave shadow tile behind it. This shadow tile can be complementary color to the ripple tile, or you can provide more of contrast using the shadow tile. Ripple Wall has an online configuration tool as well, so specification is simple and installation is simplified with a set of printed instructions. Ripple Wall can be used as a ceiling and carries similar diffusive properties as Wave Wall. This solution can be effective in channeling sound to absorptive materials. Ripple Wall starts at $35 per square foot.
There are a number of materials that you should use to conduct an effective presentation on studio products. Right now we'll focus on the materials you should have to present on a Ripple Wall. You need the C3 color chain. This will be helpful to have on hand for support. You also need 4x4 samples to show the available laminate, aluminum, wood veneer, poly resin, and high-res offerings. You should also have the overview fold-out brochure that shows the entire studio line. This brochure is a great giveaway for each attendee at your presentation. Finally, you should have a studio catalog, which shows all of the studio offerings. Each A&D library or firm should have at least one copy of this catalog. How is Ripple Wall installed? The following video segment will demonstrate how Ripple Wall is to be installed.
Ripple Wall is a modular system which can be extended in any direction to suit most spaces. It's easy to install and can be fixed to almost any wall or ceiling. Your Ripple kit will contain the following: ripple tile, shadow tile, edging extrusions, inner extrusions, outer extrusions, and spacer for accurate placement. Before you begin, measure your space appropriately and find structural studs for installation. Mark and drill the holes in your extrusions to match your measurements. Place the first end of the edging extrusion in the desired position and attach it to the wall with screws. Fit the bottom inner extrusion at the correct height, flush with the end of your edging extrusion. Use the spacer to ensure consistent height between the inner extrusions. Continue installing upwards, making sure each extrusion is facing the same way, into the grid. Fit the final inner extrusion, but make sure the flange is facing downwards or opposite to all the other extrusions. Place the first outer extrusion in the correct orientation. To achieve your ripple, make sure you alternate the orientation of the outer extrusions when placing them both next to and underneath each other. You will notice that all the channels are aligned, but the grooves should not. Once all outer extrusions have been placed, fit the second end of edging extrusions against the ends of the erected wall frame. Now your wall is ready for the shadow tiles. Your shadow tiles should always meet behind the concave ripple tile in order to hide the join. Be sure to place the shadow tiles in the channel shown and not the groove for the ripple tiles. When placed correctly, ripple tiles alternate in curvature, with a convex tile always followed by a concave in both directions. With a wide variety of finishes available, such as wood, color, aluminum, polyresin, and Vario Eco Resin, Ripple Wall provides an exciting element to any space.
What is the fire rating for Ripple Wall? Ripple Wall materials have been tested for flammability and smoke test with the ASTM E8403 standard, and Varia Eco Resin was tested by the NFPA. The results were the following. Varia Eco Resin received a Class A rating. Aluminum finishes received a rating of Class A 0 to 25, less than 450. Wood veneer received a rating of Class B 26 to 75, less than 450. And colored laminate also received a rating of Class B 26 to 75, less than 450. Where is Ripple Wall manufactured? Materials for Ripple Wall are ordered from various vendors and are then manufactured at our factory in Salt Lake City. Can Ripple Wall be cut by 3-form to fit to my exact wall or ceiling dimensions? Since Ripple Wall is a modular system, it can fit to any dimension to the nearest tile size. Can Ripple Wall be fabricated in the field? Yes, Ripple Wall can be fabricated in the field, but it's not recommended because cutting individual tiles and parts can be time-consuming, and it's best to fit Ripple Wall to the space and then trim around it if necessary. What is the lead time, price point, and size availability for Ripple Wall? The standard lead time for Ripple Wall is 3 weeks. The pricing for Ripple Wall depends on the type of material specified. For example, polyresin is $52 per square foot. Color laminate is $54 per square foot. Varia is $64 per square foot. Aluminum is $65 per square foot. And wood veneer is also $65 per square foot. Note that these prices assume that the shadow tile or the back tile is polyresin. For size availability, all the materials except for polyresin are available in a 4x8 sheet, and polyresin is available in a 2x4 sheet. What are the design options for Ripple Wall? There are a number of design options for Ripple Wall, and many of them are similar to the options for woven wall and wave wall. First is the tile type. There are 2 types of tiles, ripple tiles and shadow tiles. The ripple tiles are the ones that face to the front, and the shadow tiles create the backing of Ripple Wall. Remember that there will be half as many shadow tiles than ripple tiles because the shadow tiles are only placed behind the convex ripple tiles, not the concave. Another design option is the type of finish. Specifiers can choose from 5 finish options, including polyresin, colored laminate, Varia, aluminum, and wood veneer. Polyresin is available in 11 different colors. Color laminate has 7 color options. Varia has countless color options, with the only limitation being that it must be 1/16 of an inch gauge. Also be aware that Ghost must be used as a backer for any Varia option. Aluminum has 6 color options, and there are 13 standard wood veneers to choose from. Be aware that there are additional customization possibilities within each of the standard options, and each possibility will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. When it comes to pattern direction, any pattern will have to run parallel to the length or long dimension of the tiles. Also keep in mind that for materials that have finish options, such as Varia, sandstone is the recommended or default option because it's the most durable. Finally, when it comes to the gauge, Ripple Wall must always be 1/16 of an inch. What is the sheet yield for Ripple Wall? When it comes to sheet yield, all of the materials except for polyresin come in a 4x8 sheet and yield 45 ripple tiles per sheet. Polyresin comes in a 2x4 sheet and yields 8 ripple tiles per sheet. Finally, for shadow tiles, the sheet yield will be 8 shadow tiles per polyresin sheet. What are the competitive products to Ripple Wall? There are currently no competitors to Ripple Wall. What finish option should be used if the client is concerned with durability? The most durable finish for Ripple Wall is polyresin or Varia with a sandstone finish.